Hello students, good morning. This is Nidhi Ghetia. Today we discuss our subject that is pharmacognosy and phytochemistry 2. That's code is BP 503 TP. Okay, so in this subject we learn our first unit that is metabolic pathways in higher plants and their determination. Okay, so in this subject we learn the first unit in metabolic pathways. Okay, basic metabolic pathways. Mainly three types of the metabolic pathways. First one that is a cyclic acid pathway. Second one that is a malonate pathway, and third one that is a amino acid pathway. Okay, also we study the role of enzymes and also coenzymes. Okay, and also we study the metabolites, primary metabolites and secondary metabolites. Okay, so today we study the utilization of the radioactive isotopes in the investigation of genetic study. Okay, so this is our main topic of today's lecture. Okay, so in this topic we learn the four subtopics like basic definitions of the biogenetics, then introduction of the biogenetics, then general principle of the biogenetics and biological applications. Okay, so we start the first topic that is definitions, basic definitions. Okay, so first definition that is biosynthesis. So formation of the chemical compounds by living organisms, that's called the biosynthesis. Okay, any chemical compound formed from the any living organisms or living systems, that's called the biosynthesis. Okay. Second one definition that is a biogenesis. So production of or generation of the living organism from other living organism. Okay, one living organism are generated the other living organism, that's called the biogenesis. Biogenesis. Okay, that is production or generation of the living organisms from the other living organisms. Okay, third one definition that is a primary metabolites. So required for primary metabolites are required for the growth and normal physiological activity. Okay, growth of our body or any plant's body or their normal physiological system require for the growth and normal physiological systems activity. Okay, so that's example that is carbohydrates, fatty acid, amino acids, nucleic acid and protein also. Okay, so fourth one definition that is secondary metabolites. Biosynthetically derived from primary metabolites, they represent the chemical adaptation or to environmental stresses or act as a defensive or protective against microorganisms, insects and higher herbivores. Okay, like alkaloids, glycoside, resins and tannins. Okay, so biosynthetically derived from the primary metabolites. Secondary metabolites are biosynthetically we derived from the primary metabolites. Okay, and they represent the chemical adaptation than environmental stresses or act as a defensive or protective against the microorganisms or other insect or higher herbivores. Okay, so this is a basic definitions. Now we study the introduction of the biogenetics. Okay, so biogenetics is the living plants considered as a biosynthetic laboratories, primary as well as secondary metabolites. Okay, so what is biogenetics? So living plants considered as the biosynthetic laboratories and primary as well as secondary metabolite. Okay, they generate the primary and secondary metabolites in laboratory of living plants. Okay, so different types of the pathway, biosynthetic pathways we learn in above lecture, like a cyclic acid pathways or mevalonic acid pathway, that's called the mevalonate pathway, then acetate pathway and amino acid pathways. Okay, aminocyclinic acid pathway, after they form the aromatic amino acid. Okay, then malonic acid pathway, they forms the terpenes, and acetate pathways, they forms the fatty acids. Okay, so the understanding of the metabolic process has advanced at a fantastic rate since that advent of tracer method. Okay, so the understanding of metabolite processes has advanced at a fantastic rate since the advent of tracer methods. Okay, many methods are the available for the biogenetic studies. Okay, so prior to development of the isotopes of of the elements of concerns to biochemists, some crude tracers experiment were done. Okay, so for an examples like the oleic acid can be converted to 9 and 10 dichlorosteric acid by the addition of the chlorine in the double bonds. Okay, so this example is all for the oleic acid. Oleic acid are converted in a dichlorosteric acid, like 9 and 10 position chloro are attached in 9 and 10 position and making the generate the chlorine in a double bonding system, addition in a double bonding system. So generate the dichlorosteric acid. Okay, so these the stable isotopes usually differ from the predominant isotopes by one mass unit. Okay, the stable isotopes is usually differ from the predominant isotopes by the one mass unit. Okay, so this is the introduction of the biogenetics. Now we study the general principles of the biogenetics. Okay, so first that is chemical properties, and hence the name we give and elements are determined by the number of extra nuclear electrons. Okay, chemical properties, and hence the name we give and elements are determined by number of extra nuclear electrons. Okay, numbers of the as per numbers of the extra nuclear electrons. Okay, chemical reaction are largely independent of the mass of the nucleus. Okay, only independent chemical reaction are largely independent, not depend on the mass of the nucleus, but that is there is a independent of the mass of the nucleus. Okay, so the rays or particles emitted by unstable isotopes and electrons. Okay, electrons, positrons, then particles or gamma rays, each with its own specific properties. Okay, so rays or particles emitted by unstable isotopes. Okay, not stable isotope, but they emitted by the unstable isotopes like electrons, positrons, then particle, positron or particle or gamma rays, each with its own specific properties. All elements having that's own specific properties. Okay, so the rate of decay of unstable isotopes is independent of the temperature, pressure, or etc., and of the chemical combination of the elements. Okay, so the isotopes must be incorporated into the compound which you wish to study, usually into a specific position in the molecule. Okay, so the isotope must be incorporated into the compound which you wish to study. Okay, usually specific position of their molecule. Okay, now we study the biological applications. Okay, so first one that is now we study the biological applications. First we study their introduction. Okay, so today the largest number of the application of radio tracer is in biology and medicine. Okay, so because of the large number of application, it is beyond this the scope of this work to review them in any details. Okay, so instead we shall focus on three specific application, one that is very old, one that is a middle age, and one that is a adolescent. Okay, it is it in its scope if not in its development. Okay, so instead, so here we use the three applications. First one that is a very old, okay, and second one that is a middle level, then third one that is a newest application. Okay, so if not it in its development. Okay, so we refer the three applications, like first one that is a autoradiography, second one that is a radio immunoassay, and third one that is a DNA analysis. Okay, DNA analysis. We study the three application. So we study the autoradiography. Autoradiography is the oldest method of detecting radioactivity. In autoradiography, a radioactive samples is placed on photographic emulsion. Okay, in what we do in these applications of autoradiography is the oldest method, as we know. First one that is the old method. Okay, so detecting radioactivity in autoradiography, a radioactive sample is placed on photographic emulsion. Okay, after a period of long time, the film is developed and the precise location of the radioactive matters in the sample is determined from the pattern of the darkening on the film. Okay, thus the autoradiography is used to locate radionuclide in the tissue section and grows the sample of the or chromatogram draw. Okay, generate the chromatogram. Special techniques are used to get optimum spatial resolution in the image and prevent the artifacts. Optical or electron microscope can be used to examine the images. Okay, so this is a schematic diagram of the autoradiography. Okay, first we cryosling system, then equilibrium binding, okay, generate the one film, then in vitro radiography generate, and then washing and PFF fixation and exposure, so making the one chromatogram, and then digital audio radiogram, radiogram, and after the quantification by the electric microscope. Okay, so this is a radiographic process. Okay, not a schematic diagram, but this is a process of the radiography. Okay, now we study the radio immunoassay, that is RIA. Okay, so RIA, radio immunoassay, is a highly sensitive method to determine the amount of hormones, drugs, vitamins, then enzymes, virus, tumor, anti-AIDS, and serum protein in biological samples. Okay, it is based on the immunological reaction of antibodies and antigen. Okay, antibody and antigen, that's having the basis on the immunological reaction of their both. Okay, so one started with the either the antibody labeled and radio tracer such as the 3H, 14 carbon, or 1250 125 iodine. Okay, 3H, then 14 carbon and 125 iodine. These are the radioactive tracers. Okay, so in the radioimmunoassay for antigens, one used the idea that if a limited amount of the antibody is available, the antigen molecule will compete for the binding site on the antibodies. Okay, so if one start with the certain amount of radio-labeled antigen, any additional antigens added will display some radio-labeled antigen and will not allow to bind to antibodies. Okay, first we take the radio-labeled antigens, and after the addition of the antigen added will display some radio-labeled antigen. Antigen and additional antigen both are binded and then making the radio-labeled antigen. Okay, then thus the procedure might be to mix antibody and radio-labeled antigen together and let them be bind to each other. Okay, so precipitates the complex form the solution. Okay, making the complex solution. Then measure the activity of supernants, and this is the amount of the unbounded antigens. Okay, here bounded or unbounded antigen antibody. So labeled antigens are attached with the generate the complex with the unlabeled antigen and making the one complex, and then radio labeled antigen they are bound with the antibody. Okay, and making the one complex. So now mix the some amount of the antibody and radio labeled antigen together along with the unknown stable antigen samples. Okay, so the stable antigen will complete with the radio-labeled antigen for binding sites on the antibody molecules. So the sum of the radio-labeled antigen will not be able to bind as it did before. Okay, some antigens and antibody are bind easily, but some antigens or antibody are not bind properly. Okay, so precipitate the complex from solution. Okay, precipitation of the radio-labeled and radio-labeled antigen and antibodies, making the complex from their solution, and measure the activity of the supernants, and this activity is measured of the amount of stable and unlabeled antigen present in the sample. Okay, so by constructing a calibration curve that shows the amount of the radioactivity present in the supernant after the adding known amount of the unlabeled antigen, one can determine the amount of antigen presence in the sample. Okay, so this is a diagram of the antigen antibody reaction. First we take the radioactive antigens and primary antibody. Okay, radioactive antigens are attached to the primary antibody. After the adding the unlabeled antigen in the sample of the radioactive antigens and primary antibody. Okay, so unlabeled antigens are attached to the radioactive antigens and making the complex. After their making complex and attached with the secondary attached with the antibodies. Okay, so they making the secondary antibody. Okay, unlabeled antigen display the radioactive antigens, and thereafter they attach with the antibodies and making the secondary antibody. Okay, so complex of the antigen antibody reaction. Okay, now we study the third reaction, that is a DNA analysis. Third application. So DNA analysis is a widely used in identify criminals, establish paternity, detection of the genetic disease. Okay, DNA analysis are widely used for the identify criminals or establish or paternity detection of genetic disease, like one type of the forensic science. Okay, this test used in a forensic science or forensic laboratories. Okay, so the DNA in each living cells can be used as fingerprints to identify individual in a large population. Then to obtain a DNA fingerprints of the individual, DNA first, that is a DNA in each living cells can be used as fingerprints to identify individual in large population. Okay, DNA test for the also used for the fingerprints also. Okay, then to obtain a DNA fingerprints of the individual, one extract the DNA from the DNA are extracted from the sample of the blood, skin, hair and semen. Okay, then the cell wall are destroyed by the osmosis or other techniques, and the standard DNA is decomposed into single standard pieces. Okay, so this DNA is then cut into pieces using the enzyme that cut either side to respected sequence. Okay, DNA cut enzyme are using for the DNA cutting. Okay, cutting in a pieces. Okay, so the result is DNA mixture of the segments of different size. Okay, cutting, after the cutting of the DNA, they generate the mixture of the DNA segments. Okay, in different size. So electrophoresis is used to sort the fragments by size spatials. Okay, and then the spatially separate fragments are allowed to react with the radio labeled gene probes. These gene probes contain radio labeled specific fragments of DNA that bind only to one. Okay, then the original DNA fragments are then identified by the radio labeled DNA that has react with them, and usually by autoradiography. Okay, so the physical pattern on the autoradiograph is a pattern of the DNA sequence and size. Okay, so today we study the biogenetic studies. Okay, in biogenetic studies we study the some definitions, basic definition, then introduction, then also we study the general principle, and then 3 application. First one, that is autoradiography. Second one, that is RIA, that is RIA, then RIA, and then radio immunoassay. Then third one, that is a DNA analysis. Okay, so today we over our first unit. In next lecture we start our second unit. Okay, so thank you to all.